Hey, stop that cat, Errol Spence Jr. He breaks his silence following his loss to Terence Bud Crawford. Find out what he said in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Right now, I'm on Errol Spence's page, Errol Spence Jr., and ironically, this is something that I got to give props to Errol Spence for. He's immediately updated his bio following his loss on Saturday to Terence Bud Crawford. As you see, it says 28-1. One loss being a KO loss to Terence Crawford. And then he also updated it and said 154, big fish. So he has every indication of moving up. Now, the reason your boy Ego is giving this props is because I've seen fighters take just as bad losses or get knocked out or just lose in general, and they are very slow to update their bio. Errol Spence kind of promptly did it, indicating he's not ducking or dodging the loss that he now has on his record. And as a man, you got to respect that, because again, I've seen fighters take a loss and it takes a year for them to, it's like almost like they're in denial. So it takes like a year for them to update their bio and social handles and things like that. Errol Spence has done it within days. Now, he did put this message, and he says, congratulations to Terence Crawford. He says, good-ish, bruh. Hopefully, we can do it again sooner than later. Handshake, hashtag 154. So some people are saying, no, don't do the rematch, right? I don't want to see a rematch, but these fighters are defiant by nature and stubborn by nature. And my thing is this, based on what I seen, Errol Spence, he couldn't get off, and there were some stylistic issues in the fight. You got to give praise to Terence Crawford for that and pulling it off. A lot of people are sending me all types of videos and, different theories on what happened. Some people are saying, oh, but look at Errol's eyes before the fight. Oh, his weight. Errol Spence told you that making weight wasn't the easiest thing, but he signed up for the fight. I seen an interview with Bomac, and he says if he was weight drained, that's not our fault. And I agree. At the end of the day, you signed a contract. You had options to fight like a Keith Thurman at 150, 154, 150 plus. And Errol Spence, being stubborn, he said, nah, the fans want this fight, and he stayed around. So, you can't cry over spilt milk if you did have to make crazy sacrifices to make the weight. But I don't doubt that Errol Spence, to be honest, it doesn't look like he was himself for whatever reason. And part of it is Terence Crawford, but part of it could have been the weight. But again, Errol Spence is not using anything as an excuse, and he's just giving Crawford his just due, his P's and his props. So you got to respect that. So if there were various struggles like with weight or whatever, it is what it is. They both signed up for the 47, and that's the fight that they made, and one person pulled the trigger and got off. Now, the other thing is just full transparency. I picked against Terence Crawford. I admitted that my read was off, obviously, because Terence Crawford won in a dominant fashion. The other thing is I made videos, Ego Weight Watchers. See, I don't duck or dodge no type of smoke. If I'm right, I'm right, and y'all gonna live with that. But if I'm wrong, I'm gonna live with that. And I'm going to, I don't try to change the results and all that type of stuff. I just speak on what I believe in. But prior to the fight, I gave Terence Crawford his issue and gave you my honest takes. And to me, it looked like Crawford struggled to make the weight. He arrived at the fight week and he looked pretty ghastly to me, but it looks like he replenished and his rehydration process was probably better. And because he came from lighter divisions, it all worked out for him a lot better. But the point I'm making is, if people are saying Errol Spence had issues with weight, so did Crawford. And I made video, that doesn't change. I still think Crawford bulked up with the intent. I'm going in there versus an Errol Spence Jr. And I think this weight cut was probably one of his harder, if not the hardest weight cuts in his career. So that's kind of an even playing field. Errol Spence you know, he's bigger and been at the division longer. I get that. But it didn't look like Crawford had an easy time making weight either. So that is kind of like a cautionary tale for Errol Spence. Errol Spence, people were saying, even his team, he told you this in the buildup. He said, I made this fight with Crawford happen. And he said it got to a point, Crawford had several demands and different things that he wanted. And members of his team was just like, yo, just move on. Just move on and do your own thing, blah, 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 because you're the A side, right? You're the A side and he wants more and more. So Errol didn't do that. He gave us a banger of an event that people look forward to. Hopefully it did very good numbers. And the point I'm making is you just got to live with the results. If you're stubborn, you stubbornly cling to a certain ideology and, you know, say you can make the weight, then it is what it is. So Errol Spence, he was looking good in shape. I don't know how much he was weighing in some of these pictures, but possibly the weight cut had him flat, you know. But at the end of the day, Crawford, he had the same, it looked like a same or similar struggle making his weight, but it all worked out for him and he was able to get off on the given night and perform. And that's what boxing is about. If you have one bad night in the office, then that's just what it is. And boxing is the loneliest sport. When you're on top, everybody loves you. And when you take a loss, especially a bad loss, like Broner Maidana or Errol Spence losing to Crawford in a much anticipated fight, trolls come out and things like that. And respect to Crawford, Crawford didn't really take it there. The trash talk was done. It was settled in the ring, and Crawford handled it really classy. Like, he gave Errol Spence his respect, things like that, and kind of deaded it after that. So I could respect that. I could respect that for Terence Crawford. But it's the fans. It's a lot of the fans. They're the ones like, aha, and they're acting like they did it. But realistically speaking, this is Crawford and his team's accomplishment. The city of Omaha, this is their accomplishment. And the fans didn't do this. The people who've been rocking with Crawford and believing in Crawford and Crawford himself, they're the ones that did this. You got a bunch of fans who are acting like this is their win, like they did something. You still work at Jack in the Box. You still work at Kmart or wherever you work, you know? So people got to show respect to the fighter. I still support Errol Spence. I still support Terence Crawford. Crawford proved me wrong. He got to be #1 pound for pound. It was a great event. Really, it wasn't like a classic fight. It was just like a one-sided fight. It was a classic performance more so than it was a classic fight. Shout out to Errol Spence for being a soldier, not making any excuses, updating his resume to indicate that he lost, and we'll see what's next. Again, some people say, hey, don't take the rematch. We've seen enough. Fighters are defiant. They said the same thing to probably Lennox Lewis when he lost to Hasim Rahman, to Sugar Ray Leonard when he lost to Roberto Duran. I know for a fact, because this is my era, when Anthony Joshua lost to Ruiz, even myself, I was like, man, that could get ugly, because it looked like Ruiz had his number, but Ruiz came out of shape and all types of stuff, and Joshua was focused and outboxed him. So at the end of the day, certain things Errol Spence probably did wrong. Kind of a cautionary tale. Terence Crawford was the better man. He was able to deal with, because Crawford had his own pressures too. You know, people like me, I was making videos not thinking he was going to win. And that's boxing. On the given night, you got to be able to perform, and whatever situations and pressures you're up against, you have to be able to topple them. And Crawford did that. So great event. Let me know what you guys think. That is my updated thoughts. Subscribe to the channel. And I'm out.